Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we will look at how the iPad Air 4 is holding up after months of everyday usage and see if this is that non-pro iPad which pro users need. So guys, the iPad Air is being used every day in my household since it launched. And I also own the iPad Pro 2020. So today, nearly 5 months later, I'm going to tell you how it is holding up. I will talk about the good parts, the performance, power, and the compromises that you have to make if you opt for an iPad Air today. Just before proceeding, please do subscribe to my channel, guys, if you're a first-time visitor here, because that will immensely help my YouTube channel to survive in today's saturated YouTube land. And whilst you're there, the like button is just a few pixels away. Please hit that so the YouTube algorithm will push my content to more viewers. So let's start off with the good bits. When I heard about the rumors that the iPad Air 3 is going to get an update last year, I was certain that it probably would get a speed bump and maybe some new first-party accessories. But what Apple pulled totally surprised me, as they single-handedly outdated their expensive iPad Pro lineup by offering all the best and useful features of that iPad Pro in a mid-tier product. As it currently stands, you don't have to pay the Pro price to get all those useful features which are generally reserved for the expensive iPad Pro lineup. Features like all-screen design with thin bezels, stereo speaker setup, Apple Pencil Gen 2 support, and USB Type-C port. All the features which are lacking from every other iPad lineup beside the iPad Pro until now. And now, when they are all included in the iPad Air 4, then that begs the question on why you should pay extra for that Pro. These features, in my opinion, should be included on a tablet which belongs not only in 2021, but something which should last you at least 5 to 6 years to come. That all-screen design does make the tablet look more modern, but more importantly, gives you an uninterrupted view of your content without any bezels drawing your attention away. I know it's 0.1 inches smaller than the Pro, but guys, it is 0.1 inches. Does it even matter in the grand scheme of things? Absolutely not. And moreover, it works towards your advantage as it gives you slightly better surface area to grip the iPad without touching the screen. Next are those stereo speakers. You know, the iPad Air 3 before this was an amazing device, but there was one thing which I absolutely hated about it, and that was the speaker setup. Sound coming from just one side felt like something was broken. But thank God Apple did address this by including speakers on either ends, making the sound feel complete when you're relying on the internal speakers of the iPad. Again, they're not quad speaker setup like the Pro, but considering what you mostly use them for, they sound totally fine and loud enough that you don't have to go all the way to 100%. Next is Apple Pencil Gen 2 support. Even now, people in the comment section ask me if I recommend any decent third-party alternatives to the Apple Pencil Gen 2. And guys, honestly, it's better to save up for this first-party accessory as it is simply that good. I've seen artists create masterpieces using this, and all my designer friends swear by it. And how can one not mention how amazingly cool it interacts with the iPad Air? Just magnetically snapping to the sides, pairing and charging that way. And this works every time. See, there are times when my AirPods didn't pair instantly, but not the Apple Pencil. It just works every time. And then that USB Type-C port. Honestly, when the whole world is switching to USB Type-C and having any other proprietary port on a device seems very last gen. With the USB Type-C port, you can seriously make use of so many third-party accessories, docks, and storage solutions that it truly increases the potential of your iPad. And the final nail in that coffin that solidifies the iPad Air 4's stance is the inclusion of that 5nm A14 Bionic processor, which is not only 2 generations ahead of what's in that iPad Pro, but it also totally bridges the gap of having lesser RAM. Which brings me to the performance of the iPad Air 4. In my side-by-side comparison tests with the iPad Pro 2020, the iPad Air 4 totally stood on its own. I made a detailed comparison video on my channel and it has crossed over 100k views. I will link it down if you haven't already checked it. So day-to-day apps open quicker, and even with 4K video rendering, the iPad Air 4 was only a fraction behind the iPad Pro. See, editing 4K videos at 30 FPS back-to-back on both the Pro and the Air 4, I absolutely noticed no differences. Not even a single dull or laggy moment. The iPad Air 4 just kept up like a champ. Also, the most this device was used since the time I've bought it was for my daughter's homeschooling stuff due to the COVID lockdown. This was the main device which we used. She did not use any other PC or laptop. Everything was done on the iPad Air 4 paired with the Apple Pencil Gen 2. And if you actually see the applications which UK schools use, then you'd know that they're all graphic intensive and mostly run on browsers instead of having dedicated apps. And all of this running through the Safari browser, you can see how smooth and lag-free it is. My Core i7 Windows laptop struggles if I have all of these open at the same time. The fan hits like jet engine speeds, but not on the iPad Air 4. The device does get a tad warm, but that's all. No dropped frames or decreased performance issues. It just keeps going. Next up is games. Once again, as you can see, this is Asphalt 9, a fairly graphic intensive game, and you can see how amazingly smooth it runs. Even this EA Real Racing 3 game, which is quite intensive, does perform very smoothly. This brings me to the most hyped about feature by everyone in the tech land, the 120Hz ProMotion display. Now, it is absent from the iPad Air 4 and currently is an iPad Pro exclusive, but in real life usage, do you miss it? See, I would like to address this in 3 case scenarios where you can benefit with the ProMotion display, but they all have their caveats in them. Let me explain. First scenario, whilst browsing. When you're surfing the net, going through lists, then the scroll appears smoother. But on an iPad, which is a bigger screen anyways, you don't tend to scroll as much or as fastly as you do on your mobile phone. Added to that, the raw power of the A14 Bionic chip under that hood combined with an insanely optimized iPad OS makes everything smooth as it is. So honestly, unless you put both ProMotion and non-ProMotion displays beside and compare, you will not notice that difference. Second scenario, whilst you're gaming. There are a few games that support this faster 120Hz refresh rate and you do see things smoother. But honestly, iPad for me has always been about casual gaming. If you're serious about higher refresh rates on your games, then you're better off investing in a decent gaming PC or buy the PS5 along with a decent 4K gaming monitor that supports higher refresh rates. For the rest, the iPad Air 4 has got enough oomph to keep things smooth and powerful. And lastly, if you are a graphic designer, I am giving you second-hand information here, guys, from my graphic designer friends. They absolutely recommend the ProMotion display as you do appreciate the instant response, which is quite evident when you're using apps like Photoshop. So yes, if you're a full-time graphic designer and you plan to use your iPad as your main device, then it's better to hold out for the iPad Pro 2021, which is supposed to be launched sometime this month. Again, I will try to be one of the first to get hands on it and test it out on my channel. So all the more reason for you guys to subscribe to my channel. Please do that and support me so I can continue making these videos. So those are the three scenarios for the ProMotion display. But for the rest of us, I think the iPad Air 4 is more than adequate. The power combined with the performance and iPadOS all make it super fast tablet that sets a benchmark not only for the other iPads, but also for any other tablet out there. Now we need to talk about the compromises which you have to make. Evidently, it is not the ProMotion screen as stated before. The biggest sacrifice you'll have to make with the iPad Air 4 is storage. See, that base £579 or $599 iPad Air 4 comes with 64 gigs of storage, which is just okay in 2021. Most films are based on streaming models nowadays, so it helps, but still with 64 gigabytes, you need to watch what you're storing on your iPad. True that you can easily add an external storage device taking advantage of that USB Type-C port, but still internal storage is something totally different and super convenient. Now, it's not the only storage option which Apple offers. They do offer a whopping 256 gigabyte storage, but that skyrockets the price to nearly $750. At that price point, I would totally recommend the iPad Pro, as you do get all the extras along with that gorgeous 120Hz screen. So the biggest compromise which I feel you have to make if you buy the iPad Air 4 is with the storage. It would have been an easier choice if Apple offers a 128 gigabyte storage option for like 50 or 60 bucks more, like how they do with their other product lineup. So I really recommend just the 64 gigabyte storage with the iPad Air 4 if you have to buy one today, and look at cloud storage options along with some external storage drives to keep all your long-term files on there. And leave the iPad Air's internal storage only for important apps and files. However, do look at deals, especially from third-party sellers, as I did see almost about $80 discount on that 256 storage option. So that's it, guys. In conclusion, the iPad Air 4 is the iPad to go for if you're buying one today. And you will not regret getting this, as it has all the essential features of that Pro along with an insanely faster processor and should easily last you for the next 5 to 6 years and beyond. So that's all for the video, guys. I hope you liked it. And please do let me know your thoughts via the comment section down below. And once again, if you're a first-time visitor here, please do subscribe and support my channel, guys, so I can continue making these videos for you. And as always, thanks a lot for staying with me until the end. I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.